The scary truth about dental work and how it could be silently destroying your hormones and metabolism. People don't realize that things like root canals, silver amalgam fillings that are full of mercury, and even things like wisdom tooth removal or tooth extractions can really have a correlation with some health challenges that people are often having. So root canals, for instance, as we know, are typically an infected or an inflamed tooth. And what people don't realize is that infection can go systemic. Even if they tried to clean out that area as much as they can, it still can really create some massive problems. And what it is in the category of what we would call a stealth infection. So oftentimes there are no perceivable mouth symptoms. It's just a systemic infection that's going on that really drains the body. And we'll talk more about that here in a moment. The next thing is silver fillings. And silver fillings are made of mercury. And so there's some interesting things about silver fillings. For instance, the material that they use is considered hazardous material before it's placed in the mouth. Once it's placed in the mouth, they declassify it. If you were to have silver fillings removed, silver filling, the amalgam filling out of your mouth, it has to get reclassified as a hazardous material and disposed of properly. If that doesn't tell you that that's a problem, that that's in your mouth. In fact, you should Google the smoking tooth, and there is a video that shows the off-gassing of mercury in the mouth from those silver amalgam fillings and how problematic that can be. And things like anytime you drink something hot, it even accelerates the off-gassing of that mercury within your mouth and throughout your system, and can be extremely problematic for the body's toxic burden with the heavy metals such as mercury. And then going into the wisdom tooth removal or tooth extraction process. So oftentimes when a wisdom tooth or a tooth extraction is done, they don't remove the ligaments. And so then that also creates, similarly, like the root canal that we talked about earlier, a situation where that bacteria from some of the infection that can be present in the mouth, or some of the bacteria that's in the mouth, can go systemic and create these stealth infections. And so you may have heard me talk before about the body having a priority principle. And so it will take whatever nutrition, energy, resources that it has, and it'll allocate that to what it deems most necessary to address. So when you have some of these infections going on or toxins that your body's trying to manage, it's taking a lot of the body's resources to manage some of these things. So it's either managing this chronic infection, which a lot of times people will get even chronic fatigue over, because the body's trying all the time to deal with this infection. But ironically, there are oftentimes no symptoms in the mouth whatsoever. I dealt with this myself from a wisdom tooth removal that was done, and I had no problems healing up from the wisdom tooth removal afterwards. I did have dry socket once initially, but it healed up just fine, no problems. But later down the road, several years down the road, I had something called a cone beam scan done, and they found that there was something called a dental cavitation. And so there was a necrosis happening. So actually this infection was eating away at my jaw, and I had no jaw symptoms, no mouth symptoms whatsoever. But I was having a lot of hormonal symptoms and a lot of chronic fatigue, a lot of other symptoms that were just terrible as a result of this stealth infection going on in my system. So I just want you to be aware, you're not always going to have mouth symptoms. Sometimes people do, but oftentimes they don't. And it's just a systemic situation that the body's trying to manage. So that can happen once again with both root canals and with tooth extractions because of how they are done. So what I recommend doing is working with a biological dentist that can guide you in the right direction concerning some of these things and get them taken care of. If you have silver fillings in your mouth, you'll want to, if you're not sure, you can go look in the mirror, and if you see silver back in there, then you know that you've got silver fillings. You'll want to get them removed properly with a biological dentist that has the tools, resources, and knowledge to be able to do that effectively without creating more of a toxic situation for you. So, we are here in north of Dallas area, and we have some great recommendations for you locally, but you can look on I believe it's called the IAOMTOT. There is a way to look up biological dentists in your area, or you can Google biological dentists and find somebody's trained in the proper way to deal with some of these things and to take care of your oral health, because there's such a huge connection to your hormones, your metabolism, your energy level, all of those things. So going back to the priority principle, if the body's taking all of these resources to either maybe deal with the stealth infection or the mercury toxicity that might be happening as a result of some of these amalgam fillings, it doesn't have the capacity to keep hormones in balance or even have hormone production oftentimes. So the body's smart, it's trying to keep you alive, so it's keeping the things that it deems most necessary to address at bay, or managing those things first. And so if it's not going to kill you for your hormones to be lower or not have as much hormone production, it'll take care of that infection first, or that toxin first. But hey, let's face it, that's really draining. You have to be dealing with that all the time when there's a solution to offload that burden from the body and give the body some capacity for healing. And it's pretty remarkable oftentimes when some of these things are addressed, when we can take these different things that the body's been managing for a long time and remove that interference, the body really starts to heal itself in a pretty amazing way. And there are some really wonderful tools to work with as well to support energy levels in the body and then bind to some of these toxins that the body's having to deal with, whether it is these chronic infections or some of the, like we talked about with the mercury, some of the heavy metal toxicity as well. So hopefully that was some helpful information for you. It's something that I've dealt with personally and just something I wanted to share that I don't know that I've shared much information about, but it's so important. Why would we want to be dealing with these extra infections or toxins unnecessarily when there's a way to manage them? So once again, hope that was some helpful information for you. If it was, please like and share this video with somebody that you know would benefit from the information. Health and happiness. Have a super fantastic day. Thanks so much.